Hi, it's Mark here, and today's tip is on language games. Now, you might think that games in the language classroom are quite straightforward, and that a video of tips on the subject is not necessary, but I've observed several inexperienced teachers make fundamental errors and mess up games. Now, I'm a big fan of games in the language classroom, but not all games are equal, so let's start with a quick checklist of what makes a good game. 1. There should be good use of language involved, and that can be either active or passive. Listening, with a real reason for listening, is great language practice. It's not always about speaking. 2. It should be quick and easy to set up and explain. 3. A good game in my book is one you can use with a variety of levels. 4. Following on from that flexibility over levels is flexibility on how long it lasts. I like ones that can fill 5 minutes or 25 minutes if necessary. 5. The best games are the ones that can be recycled with the same class. And 6. They should engage the students. In other words, they should be fun. So that's what makes a good game. Now let's move on to my 6 points for playing language games effectively. 1. The first point to make about games in the language classroom is that it's sometimes better to refer to them as activities. The word game has the connotation of not being serious, and as a result, in the minds of some students, particularly adults, language games can be regarded as not worthwhile and a waste of time. I believe nothing could be further from the truth, but if you need to sell a game to skeptical students, call it an activity. Point number 2 is that games need just as much preparation as other activities. The fact that an activity is a game does not automatically guarantee its success in the classroom. Any instructions or rules must be explained clearly, and the game must be pitched at the right level for the class. If a game is too easy or too hard, the result will be the same. Your students will quickly lose interest. Point 3 is, should students play as individuals or in pairs or groups? I always advocate doing things in pairs or teams of 3 or more. Students feel less intimidated if they can work with a classmate, and teams provides you with a way of helping weaker students by mixing them with stronger ones. Also, if a class of 15 is playing in 5 teams of 3, each team's turn will come round a lot quicker, so everyone is more likely to stay focused. I also prefer running games from the front of the class so that I can keep everyone's attention rather than having students play amongst themselves in small groups where attention can wander. Point 4 is, how will students answer? I think turn taking is by far the best approach, as it allows teams to think and collaborate. Asking students to shout out the answer can quickly descend into chaos, and first person to put their hand up means the stronger students always answer. Point 5 is, how are you going to score? This is a minor practical consideration, but one worth mentioning quickly nevertheless. I advise using tally sticks like these for scoring, because it means you're just adding to what's on the board, whereas if you use numbers, you have to keep rubbing numbers out as the score changes. That brings us to point number 6, which is leave yourself some wriggle room. As I've already said, a game is essentially an activity for practicing language, so you need to keep all students interested and participating until the end. You don't want one team looking like runaway winners straight from the beginning. I've already mentioned mixing stronger students with weaker ones, but you can also award points for good pronunciation, particularly good answers, and so on, in an effort to keep things balanced. In the same vein, you can deduct points from students who speak their own language or speak out of turn. The other tactic is to play in rounds so that more points are at stake in round 4 than in the previous 3 rounds. This means that it's still possible for a team which is lagging behind to overtake the leaders and win in the final round. Okay, that's all for language games. Remember, if you found these tips useful, there are plenty more at networktefl.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.